Hi, Cancer. Anyone new to Opal Oracle, welcome. Nice to have you. And those returning, same, of course. Now, I wanted to show you this. For some reason, I was compelled to do these mid-month readings a little earlier. Virgo's always like premeditating everything, right? Prepared. But this is the chart. I hope you can see that. So this is just for today at this time, in this very moment. We're making this cool, there's this trine. You see that triangle, the sun to Neptune to Saturn. Very interesting. Uranus, excuse me. Saturn, Uranus, and the sun. Uranus is about change. Saturn is about staying the same. The sun is about something new. So there's something. Would you excuse me? Sorry. 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Tired of holding things in? All right, so Cancer. How many cards? I heard 7 cards. Cancer. 1 second. Conscious and subconscious are much different. Just a second, please. It won't let me tune in, Cancer. Just a minute. Your subconscious has a mind of its own, okay? It has a mind of its own. I sense that there's some sort of irritation, but I heard nothing that you can't fix. You want to be moving ahead in the future, okay? You're determined. And aware of what it is that's around you, okay? When you've outgrown things, I heard, you're the sign of the mother, so I always see in the opposite is Capricorn, which is the father, so I see the mother-father a lot with you. But there is something about that. Let me see. I heard originally that some of you are done figuring out, or you're at very least getting to a position of almost complete deconstruction of the psychological patterning between you and your mother. Okay? Like you're starting to figure it out. And it's positive, you know, and there's what it is that's changing here with whatever it is that used to grow together, or whatever still does grow together, or whatever is growing apart. It's neither here nor there in that sense, because it's more about the point that everything grows as it should. Everything is as it should. I do see if there's any kind of growing pains, in a way. I see that you know, garlic is so healthy for you. I heard a diet of garlic. And fruit and, you know, kelp, like things that are, they're sort of a lighter food, but they're really dense in nutrition. Okay, there's something about that. See a peace offering in the past. I see for some of you, you decided to, again, something about continuing to, you're not sure about growing with an additional thing to yourself, how to exactly go about it, so you're waiting. It does bother you subconsciously, but again, you're figuring out by doing whatever it is that you do for yourself in your time for you, that'll help you recognize that you're on the right path. Okay, like you have to be out in nature for you to understand that you're on the right path. Okay? Because sometimes the path is covered in poison ivy, right? But if we don't know that, then we'll walk right through it. And we'll wonder why we're itchy later. Or you can start to be aware of your own environment and what grows there and how it grows and how much space it needs, and, you know, whether it needs to be how often it needs to be tended to. And then you can, you know, I heard maneuver accordingly. Maybe for some of you too, whether you're mother or father, but I see strongly always the Empress as the mom, but like, you know, maybe you're finally, I heard, relinquishing your task of motherer in some sort of way. Not to yourself. I sense that you're figuring that out for yourself, how to care for you, how to love you, right? We've been talking about this for a little while, but like, you're your soulmate. You're your twin flame. You know, you're dating you all the time. You're married to you, actually. You know, you can't divorce yourself, technically, and even if you do in this life, you know, the way you want to, whatever, to try to stop that contract, ultimately, you still do it next life. So But the point is I see there's some sort of relinquishing of responsibility to things that aren't necessary because it isn't your responsibility to grow. Mother Nature is just a part of the puzzle. Everything in Mother Nature has to do its job accordingly, right? She can't go around and tend to every single plant all over the earth. It'd be too much for one person. You know what I mean? In a way, I guess I see the Empress now as a very strong interpretation of you, which makes sense as the mother and ruling the mother's house. See, you're starting to figure out, yeah, like how worrying about and concerning yourself with not only the surface of something, taking care of the up here, it's like taking care of the roots of something too, okay? Nourishing all of it. You know, not just being, again, I heard concerned with what you can see, but what you cannot see, what's underground. Okay, and with Jupiter in Scorpio, at the very least in Western astrology until November, take advantage, right? We'll still be doing this again until technically everyone really unearthing things until late 2019, but either way, it's a lifelong process, right? Now, I really see you capable, able, some of you are kind of like waiting on money in some sort of way. I see that while you're waiting for that, don't forget to... Oh, wait a second. It's a double message. While you're waiting on something, I wouldn't necessarily go and try to fill the space with something else. Does that make sense? You want to keep patience, true patience, right? Like grace in your heart, patience, right? Look how cool she is. Obviously do your day-to-day, whatever, all the little things you got to do. But when it comes to something bigger that you're waiting on, like don't get stuck in that and not move forward at all, but don't go jumping into anything just because you have to wait on something. Because I sense that the reason why you're also waiting isn't just because of something outside of you, it's also because of something very much inside of you, okay? It's teaching you about roots, right? It's teaching you about what's good for you. Roots. First card out. Love life. We repeat our family cycles until we realize that we're repeating a cycle, that we're in a game, and then we can choose whether we want to continue that game or not, and whether, understanding that we just have a choice. We can say yes, we can say no about the way that we're going to participate with others, especially when it comes to what we put our heart into, right? And I see that you're becoming a lot more conscious of the difference between when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So like learning, you got bleeding heart and yes next to one another. That's a Cancer card if I've ever seen it. Right? You just give until you're so spent that you're just like, You don't have to do that. Unless you're doing it to yourself, but even then, take a break, I guess. Sometimes we give to others because we weren't given what we needed when we needed it in our lives. So we give it to others to try to get them to give it to us. Does that make sense? And I see that that's part of the cycle that doesn't actually communicate what it is that you feel in the external world. Like how deep your emotions run. You kind of keep them inside, right? You're cardinal, so you're always getting to work, getting things done, thinking way ahead of the game, right? Concerned about way ahead of the game. 3-6, at very least, like 3 to 6 months ahead, like you figuring out, you know, I do see that there's also a goal of, I heard that 3 to 6 months. There's also something from December to June. And in between that time, bringing more peace into yourself. You have yellow dock here, and I actually just saw this at the river. Let's see what it has to say. It's a blood tonic, a mild laxative used to stimulate the secretion of bile through the liver and to purify the blood and the whole system. Wow. Yellow dock is also used to raise iron levels in the blood and is particularly useful for anemia. The divinatory meaning in this is letting go internally of things no longer needed, allows the rebuilding of genuine strength. Fascinating. You know, with all this Mars in retrograde energy, you know, it's moving forward now, and you know, in Venus, it's Libra, its opposite is, Venus is in Libra, at least for a little while. You hear the crow. Well, blood purifier too. I talked about that with another sign. I think it was Aquarius. But blood can be seen as something physical, obviously. It can also be like in a family sense, you know, just cleansing any of whatever it was that happened that wasn't, I heard, appropriate. And I heard being okay with that. Yeah, just kind of owning it and then letting it go. Yeah, there's your inner child and your intuition. These are both Piscean cards in a way. Also, which is the 12th house, and that's about undoing. And compassion for you. I heard nobody really wants to see a Cancer get mad. And their family never expects it either. You know, because you're always generally so sweet. This is specific, but I'm going to say it because I'm a woman, and even if you're a man, this still affects you, this situation. But for any of you who have lost a child, whether that's through a miscarriage, or you had to have an abortion for whatever reason, or you lost a child overall, like if you even, and this can even deduce smaller to you feeling like your inner child is not alive, right? Your inner you is not alive because of whatever and however you relate to your family, in the way that you function in this world, like mentally because of it, is like you can release all of that. And that's actually what you're doing subconsciously, is releasing all of that. You know, and I'm sorry for any of you who have lost a child or had to make that decision in some way or another. It affected you, because it's not easy. But I heard that was the way that it had to be. To purify some sort of karmic connection to other lifetimes, other your family lines, you know, whoever you were involved with. And whoever it is now, you know, there's something about that. We're always sort of doing that job. You know? Because it does affect your relationships, and so you have to learn to let it go. Okay? You have to filter that out. Let's look up this one. I don't know this one. It's cascara bark. Can you see that? There. 1 second. Okay, interesting. This card also, it says it promotes, it's a laxative as well. It promotes bowel movements and the discharge of bile from the liver as the other one, and generally cleanses the intestinal tract. Fascinating. Cascara bark, C-A-S-C-A-R-A, bark. It grows these little blue, I don't know where this grows naturally, but that's interesting, both of those. Yellow dock and cascara both remove, because, okay, when you say someone is melancholy, what you're actually saying, so the alchemist discovered, so they uncovered, so they say, that we have 5 liquids in our body, which we probably have 7 because everything breaks down to 7s, but technically we have 5, so they say. We have blood, we have semen, like blood, like sexual fluids, urine, and then we have yellow bile and black bile. Okay? We have to, I guess, have all of these. But the bile themselves, when you're melancholy, when you're too sad, you have too much black bile. Which obviously, like too much yellow, you know, usually yellow would entail an infection, right? And that's kind of what's happening internally, energetically, spiritually, when you have too much bile. There's something that's not being filtered accordingly. But I see that if you continue to, this card's about healing, okay? And there's your card, cypress, and then we also have hops. Hold on. Interesting, just a second. Somebody feels like they gotta dish out something. Or they're waiting on some sort of compensation. I guess this goes back to the waiting for something in the physical world. Again, it could, for some of you, it is about waiting for money. Like maybe you're waiting on a paycheck or something like that. Or you're just there's some sort of contract that you want to move forward on, but you can't move forward on it yet. It's because it's still contractual somewhere else, if that makes sense. Something about that. There's like a legal binding contract. But all things change, right? And I see that it's important for you to, when I said all things change, I felt like a lot of you felt like you were going to lose something, but you're not. You're just moving to a different place. Okay? We talked about this in September, and I think even before, but being attached to the story of your past, right? Like, your past is your past. You're not letting anybody take it. You worked long and hard to be the survivor, right? To be alive, to be in this time. Yes, true. But you don't have, survivor mentality is not, survivor is not thriver. Okay, this is a thriver. This is a go-getter. This is a, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it with such passion and vigor and excitement and confidence. And, you know, I heard people can, I heard something about, like, whatever it is that people are stuck, other people are stuck about, it's just like, that's not your deal. You know? It's not your deal. You, sure. Your relationship with God, sure. I mean, I was just saying this earlier, but it's important to remember, when we treat ourselves well, when we treat ourselves with love and respect, what we're saying is, thank you, God, for making me. You know, thank you, Mother Nature, for letting me live upon your beautiful body. You know, when you treat yourself like crap or you get stuck in things, whether it's psychological or emotional or mental or whatever. I know it's easy to say, but it's true. Like, we're basically saying, fuck you, to the opportunity that we have every day to do something different. Now, I'm not saying that all of you feel like this all the time, but if this is coming up, then it's important to keep it in. You're playing a game of chess with yourself all the time. You got to keep it in check, right? Because your shadow, because you're the moon, you're nighttime, and here's Aries, here's Libra, here's the horizon, the plane, horizontal plane, and then here's the sunrise, here's the sunset, and what's right in the middle? Cancer. You're the keyhole. You know, you hold the weight of everyone. So sometimes it's hard, and it's emotionally draining. Right? So you gotta figure out, well, like, hi, Zoomy, you coming over to see Cancer again? Yeah, yes. I just want you to remember to keep your emotions high and feel good about it, okay? Like, I heard not all the things need to be figured out right now. Take it day to day. You know? Take it day to day. Whatever it is that it seemingly is hidden or you are uncertain about, the answers will be revealed. They always are, okay? Always are. Do we become successful in the knowledge that we're seeking? You know? Yeah. I also see that, yeah, your home is just so important. Like, and I sense, again, this is just also about you and how stable and wealthy and healthy and able and capable you feel about you. Cancer. You know? And you should, because you're awesome. You know? You need to rest a little bit more than you do. And you probably won't, but you should. It'll boost your energy, okay? It'll boost your energy. Let's pick, you got Angelica too. The Sun card, that's awesome. Angelica is like a spiritual protective herb too, like metaphysically speaking. It's beautiful. Let's see, Cancer. Okay. One second. So this story is about the skeleton woman. It's the woman who remember wolves. We're going to go with it again. It says, the untangling reveals that they are ancient and old beyond discriminate time. It is she, Lady Death, who measures energy versus distance, who weighs time versus libido, who hefts spirit versus survival. She meditates on it, studies it, considers, and then moves to invest it with a spark or two, or a sudden blaze of wildfire, or to tamp it down a bit, bank it down, or put its life out altogether. They know what is required. They know when it is time. In untangling, we acquire the ability to sense what comes next, to better comprehend how all the aspects of nature's psyche interrelate, and how we can participate. To untangle means to gain articulate knowledge of self and others. To untangle means to strengthen our ability to know, to follow the phases, projects, errors of incubation, birthing, and transformations peacefully, and with as much grace as we can marshal. It says, so in this sense, a lover who was once rather artless about love becomes far better at it. As one begins to ascertain the patterns of life, death, life, one can anticipate the cycles of relationship in terms of increase following deficient and an attrition following abundance. A person who has untangled the skeleton knows patience, knows better how to wait. They are not knocked down or afraid of spareness. They are not overwhelmed by fruition. The needs to attain, to have right now, are transformed into a finer craft of finding all facets of relationship, observing how cycles of relationship work together. He is not afraid to relate to the beauty of fierceness, the beauty of the unknown, the beauty of the not beautiful. And in learning and working at all of these, they become the quintessential wild lover. Guess something to think about. All right, take care of yourself, all right? I'll talk to you later. Enjoy September, and thanks everyone who's still here for, well, being here and being so supportive and philosophical and open-minded. It's really fascinating and inspiring. Thank you. Peace out.